Waycross presents an election forum. For Issue 5, a proposed tax levy renewal for the village of Greenhills. When voters go to the polls on November 3rd, they will be asked to approve the following issue, which reads as follows. Issue 5. A renewal of a tax for the benefit of the village of Greenhills, County of Hamilton, Ohio, for the purpose of recreational purposes at a rate not exceeding 7/10 mil for each $1 valuation, which amounts to 7 cents for each $100 of valuation for 5 years, commencing in 2015, first due in calendar year 2016.
And good evening. I'd like to welcome you to our first Waycross election forum, this being for Issue 5, Greenhills Tax Levy. I'm very fortunate to have with me Jenny Key from the Community Press. Thank you for joining.
Sure.
As well as you at home, and of course, for the village, Yvonne Kovac, Village Manager. Yvonne, glad you could join us this evening. We will be going through tonight's issues tonight live on October 5th. If you are joining us this evening, please give us a call. 825-3971 is our live phone number. Live at waycross.org is our email address if you would like to chime in on this issue. I will be offering Ms. Yvonne Kovac a 2-minute opening statement to discuss the issue, and we will be back to ask questions as needed. Yvonne, Issue 5.
Thank you again, Jason and Jenny, for having me. And yes, this will be the first renewal. We, the voters of Greenhills first voted this in 2010, November of 2010, so it's a 5-year renewal. Over the past 5 years, it's generated about $200,000, and I believe has allowed us to do a lot of really good improvements throughout the community that I know we'll probably explore those later on, but in opening, just hopefully this is going to pass so we can have another 5 years of similar improvements.
All right. Well, it sounds like that is the end of that. Our first question, of course, always is the proverbial $100,000 home. What is it going to cost a village resident if this were to pass?
$21, 21.01 to be specific on 100,000. So obviously many homes in Greenhills would be paying far less than $21 a year, that is, for this levy. So I think it's a small price to pay for a lot of return.
Obviously, the first question being is for recreational purposes. What is that definition when people are looking at that ballot saying one person may have one idea, the others, but in general, where are we going with this fund?
We think specifically of recreational activities or park improvements.
Jenny, you have a question?
Sure. Yvonne, how much does this levy generate annually for the village?
Annually for us, it's around $36,000. Mm-hmm. The figure I gave you on the 200, it's a little bit higher than that because this year we were, this block of 5 years, I should say, we were fortunate to get a $10,000 grant, so that added to that total a little bit more.
And could you give me some specific programs that this levy paid for in the past year?
Sure. One of the best known, I guess, to the citizens would be the One Call Now system, the phone system that we have for notifying people of events. Some events, of course, have been funded with this, Light Up, Harvest Fest, Pioneer Day, things like that. We have had things like a new playground was one of the highlights. That was one of our biggest expenditures, over $100,000 to put in a new playground in the very center of the community off the end of Jack Malloy Lane. We also did additional improvements at Palma Park, playground equipment, as well as a drinking fountain. We've used it to support our pool operation, bought a golf ball machine. Let's see, those are probably, and then miscellaneous things all through town. We have some bike racks and picnic tables we've put at different locations.
Obviously, looking ahead into the future, if this were to pass, what are you looking to quite possibly fund and or look towards the future by utilizing this renewal?
Okay, we have hopes to continue pocket parks. You know, we have many of those in Greenhills, which is one of the things that makes us unique as a community. A lot of our homes actually back onto green space. We have just started renovating Burley Park, which is one of our bigger pocket parks. And so that is certainly something that we want to carry through and touch on each one of those. We're doing basic like tree removal and cleanup, and if we have paths, replacing the paths and trying to add some amenities based on what the community, the people who live around those areas would like to see in those pocket parks. So addressing the pocket parks is a big one. We'd like to continue to do some bigger improvements. One thing that's, I guess, has been on the books forever, back to one of our original plans, was an amphitheater in the vicinity, like where the tennis courts is over by the golf course. Perhaps an improvement like that. We have periodically talked about putting restrooms in over in that area. It's, you know, really a big recreation hub for us, so permanent restrooms would be ideal. Certainly continue one call and some events.
Great. Could you tell me a little bit more about the one call system? How does that work?
We have, I think, about I want to say about 1,200 users right now. Users can put up to 2 phone lines. They suggest 1 landline and 1 cell line. And we are using it almost exclusively right now for recreation, notification of recreation items. The concerts are a huge one for that, just to make people aware of what's going on and dates and times. And
so do I receive a call if there's an event coming up, or does it come out weekly? How does that?
You'll receive one if one comes out.
So this is just on a need-to-call basis as opposed to a
Correct.
weekly reminder.
Correct.
Okay, I have to unfortunately be the downer of everything. If this were not to pass, what unfortunate things would we see diminish from the village or quite possibly cut, if this were not to pass?
Well, I think you would definitely not see improvements in the parks that I was mentioning. This has been an exclusive source for those kind of improvements. So I think we would have to stick strictly to grass cutting, really, and not be able to add those amenities at this time.
You had made mention of some hefty items, an amphitheater, things like that, which are great to look forward to. Are these things that you're obviously not looking at year one, but I'm projecting a 5-year outlook within this
Correct.
This renewal?
3 to 5 years, yes.
Okay.
And I just want to clarify that we would probably, everything we do, we like to take advantage of the natural terrain in Greenhills. Mm-hmm. So we would be doing something that would be very green in the way of an amphitheater, not a big structure like most folks might think of with a lot of concrete. So we'd be looking to blend it in with the landscape in that area, things like that.
You also made mention of the use of some grants that you had received from the previous issue. Is that something you are still going to be looking forward to, some other grants that could possibly supplement this as well?
Absolutely. And the grant I was referring to was actually from a resident of Greenhills who was very gracious in donating funding for the playground. And there are also some state funds available for some of the bigger projects like the restrooms and possibly the amphitheater project that we could go after and maybe use some of this as matching grants if that's needed. Grant fund if that's needed, but try to get it paid mostly through grant funds. So yes, we would use that to supplement it actually. Absolutely.
Great. So a lot of times when you have opposition to a levy, whether it's a school levy or a park levy or a road levy, what you hear from residents, the concerns fall into a number of areas. One is we're on fixed incomes. We can't afford an increase in our taxes. This is not an increase?
No, it is not. It's staying the same.
Okay. The other thing that you'll hear frequently is that government wastes money. So I'll give you an opportunity to give your pitch for Greenhills being fiscally responsible.
Okay, thank you, because I believe we are definitely fiscally responsible, and certainly where these rec levy monies, I feel really good about how we've used them and how council has authorized the use of them to go towards, actual improvements that people can see and use and definitely enhance the quality of life in Greenhills. So there's real things you can point to, and that's what we want to continue to do, because these things are like icing on the cake. You can only do them when you have, it's not ongoing funding. We realize that at any time. Perhaps the levy could go away, so we want to put things in place that will hopefully have long, useful life for the residents, and we'll continue to do that.
You say the icing on the cake, which most people would say if they're going down Winton Woods and down Winton Road and looking at the village, that the Commons is always that pinnacle and that center point. Are there any plans to accentuate the Commons at any point, or is that possibly something we're stirring in the mind right now?
Possibly something we're stirring in the mind right now. Basically, it would stay the same.
Okay.
You know, we definitely do want to do some trees and, you know, aesthetic sorts of things. I would envision improving on the benches and, you know, the physical surroundings for people to sit, but nothing is on the drawing board at this point in time. But I think it's definitely something we should always keep in mind.
The benches have always been a interesting counterpoint or talking point within most of the village. Some call it, have unfortunate nicknames for them. There was an ongoing project currently working with those benches. Am I not incorrect on that?
Well, there has been off and on over the years.
Okay.
There is not right now. And they are starting to need some serious maintenance. Service department does a few here and a few there as their time permits. But we do desperately need to put together some kind of program, and that's where we would love, you know, if there are organizations out there who are looking for projects. Sometime we get an Eagle Scout that's just very useful for us, very helpful to get those kinds of projects done. And yeah, the benches definitely need to be addressed. You know, basically we've stopped the program, so we're not adding new benches, but we do have to find ways to deal with the existing ones.
Jenny, anything that you need to add?
No, I guess make your best pitch.
As I say, we're coming close to the end of that hour. We're not the best to find, as Jenny says, make your best pitch.
Okay, and I think I would just like to reiterate that I think we have a good track record on how we've spent these. I think any resident doesn't have to look far to see the improvements that have been made with this funding, and we really hope to continue that. We do not have other sources of money to be doing that right now, so I do hope that they will go to the polls and vote for our recreation levy.
Right. Yvonne, thank you for joining us this evening and letting everyone know about Issue 5.
Thank you
Appreciate
for having me. Thanks.
Jenny, of course, I thank you as well for joining us, and I also want to thank all of you for joining tonight, watching on Waycross. As always, we look forward to having this information given to you, the voting audience at home. If you need more information, please look forward to all of the other Waycross election forums that we will be hosting, as well as going to votehamiltoncounty.org. That is your up-to-the-minute, one-stop shop of all things that are going on for the current election. Again, we do these forums so that you will become a better informed voter. Polls do open early on November 3rd, so please vote as early as possible. And again, we look forward to giving you more information as the time goes on. I'm Jason Grisgork, Waycross Community Media's Government Access Coordinator, and I thank you this evening.
A proposed tax levy renewal. Waycross takes no position on candidates or issues. We provide these forums so that our viewers may be better informed voters for the November 3rd election.
You're good. You're free to move about.